The Canadian tradition is presented by Argo.
So you can imagine the impact on wildlife, on birds and waterfowl.
Yeah, of
I
course.
mean, losing their habitat, population decline.
Biodiversity,
yeah,
waterfowl.
population declined rapidly. And the same thing happened across the whole prairie region. Over and over, we lost all those wetlands.
It was the start was, as we know, our founders were waterfowlers and looking to find a solution to the lack of birds, and they went into solution mode and pointed to this place.
The Canadian tradition is presented by Argo, Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, Under Armour, Steel, Mossberg Firearms, Leupold Optics, Toyo Tires, Tracker Boats, Mercury Marine, 10 Point Crossbows, WeatherTech, and by Ducks Unlimited Canada.
Can you imagine this area in the prairies in the 1930s? Can you imagine the landscape parched, wetlands disappearing daily in front of our eyes? And add to that an economic depression where people don't have jobs and there's hardship. And in that environment, people got in a room and said, there's an issue, let's do what we can to help.
Water is even more than that. It is the very lifeblood of the earth. Without water, the land and water, in his eagerness to exploit the soil, he had forgotten the rhythm of water.
Well, I agree. Without the sport forcing you into the environment where game lives, breathes, exists, you would never attain that knowledge. You would never understand so profoundly how these birds or other animals that hunters chase, how they behave and how they interact. You know, understanding how they interact puts us in a better position to preserve their habitat. I'm Roger DeChambeau, currently Ducks Unlimited Canada's president. And we're here in Manitoba because I'm embarking on a bit of a journey to what we're going to call go behind the scenes of 85 years of conservation. You see, it's our 85th year, and we want to see if we can bring DU out into the open.
Salut Roger.
Bonjour, Jacques.
How's it going?
Super good, super
Excellent. Long time no see.
good. So happy to be here.
It's been a while. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
This is always like coming home.
It is. You know, it's a beautiful time of the year too. Perfect for canoeing. The birds are back. Fall is in here full swing, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be exciting.
Pre-building, what was this whole area, and what is the history of this Oak Hammock area?
Well, if we were to go back, let's say 200 years ago, this wetland was much, much larger. It would stretch from sort of the north side of Winnipeg all the way to Lake Winnipeg. So roughly 470 square kilometers. It's huge. And then it got drained and drained and drained and drained in the late 1800s. And by the 1960s, it was down to just a small pond, 0.6 of a square kilometer.
0.6
not even
of
one.
1
Yeah.
kilometer.
So a tiny little pond. Now you can imagine
From 470.
from 470. So you can imagine the impact on wildlife, on birds and waterfowl.
Yeah, of
I
course.
mean, losing the habitat, the population declined.
Biodiversity,
Yeah,
waterfowl.
population declined rapidly. And the same thing happened across the whole prairie region. Over and over, we lost all those wetlands.
Hello, Sean.
Welcome to Big Grass Marsh.
I'm here. I made it.
Good to see you here. It's where it all began.
Hey, good to see you. I feel like we're entering sacred ground for Ducks Unlimited. You know, Big Grass Marsh, to me, embodies project number 1. So, you know, if you had to go back for me and can educate me a bit on what was before Big Grass Marsh, why how did they pick this place? Why did they pick this place? So maybe bring us back.
Yeah, so the origin story of Big Grass Marsh. At the turn of this century, Big Grass Marsh was about 40,000 hectares in size. So it was a considerable sized wetland. And over the years from 1909 to 1916, there was considerable drainage of the area and loss of the native wetland. And combined with the significant drought in the 1930s, this area was recognized by local game and fish and the province and then the inception of Ducks Unlimited Canada as a very significant area to develop for waterfowl habitat.
So it was the start was, as we know, our founders were waterfowlers and looking to find a solution to the lack of birds, and they went into solution mode and pointed to this place.
Yeah, so it comes back to there was three wetlands located across the Prairie Provinces, Many Islands Lake in Alberta, Waterhead Marsh in Saskatchewan, as well as Big Grass Marsh in Manitoba. So Big Grass Marsh was the first one that was officially developed to where we are today.
The three were picked,
as the first habitat projects in Canada.
but
for
Shovel
ducks
went in first here.
in Big Grass Marsh.
Right, sacred ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, we got to know each other, and thank you again taking me on this journey to, like, I'm as I keep telling my friends, I'm blessed with this role that I get to listen and to be paddling a place like this. But your official title is Habitat Asset Manager.
Yes.
And it brings me to ask you the question, what's an asset to Ducks Unlimited? And talk to me about the future of these assets.
Yeah, so Ducks Unlimited has about 12,000 conservation projects across Canada, and really Big Grass Marsh was the model and the starting point for the launch of all those projects.
12,000 across Canada.
12,000 across Canada, so a significant footprint across the landscape, really protecting the natural habitat and values for waterfowl and wildlife and for ecological reasons.
And these are all projects which contain man-made structures to help explain what a typical asset may look like.
Yeah, so a lot of those projects do contain man-made water control structures to manage water levels at a set habitat. So Big Grass Marsh, for example, is set at sort of the minimal ecological management to manage the marsh at sort of the best elevation. And for example, Big Grass Marsh, over its course of time, like there's been observations of over 200,000 staging snow geese, 6,000 staging crane, and over 35,000 nesting Franklin gulls occupied over time in Big Grass Marsh. So very significant in the numbers that it supports.
Thousands. This is spectacular. It's great because you don't see this as coming as you're going through that narrow channel.
Gear Tech is presented by Off. Take the bite out of outdoor fun.
Ducks Unlimited Canada is a non-profit organization dedicated to the conservation of wetlands and to the protection of waterfowl and other wildlife species across Canada. With a rich history dating back to 1938, DUC has become a leader in wetland conservation, working tirelessly to safeguard these vital ecosystems for present and future generations. Through their science-based approach, DUC has successfully conserved over 6.4 million acres of wetland habitat. DUC efforts not only benefit waterfowl and wildlife, but also help to improve water quality, reduce impacts of flooding, and enhance biodiversity. There's no doubt that Ducks Unlimited Canada is a beacon of hope for wetlands and the species that depend on them. Their dedication and commitment to the protection of restoration of these vital ecosystems is crucial for the preservation of Canada's natural heritage.
Well, one of the things I was thinking of, you have such vast knowledge about history and about how my journey towards understanding could be enhanced. I mean, no question. For the purpose of what we're trying to do here today and learn, for me anyway, learn about our friend Jason's work with Ducks Unlimited, who interacts with people like yourselves, who have communities, who are on the land. I guess, you know, I talk process, but what's your expectation of a Ducks Unlimited Canada or of a Jason? What is your expectation of us when we interact in our relationship?
You know, it's got to be more than just an acknowledgement or a statement of. It's got to be an action, right? It's got to be lived. It's got to be breathed.
Talking about the acknowledgements. That
absolutely. You know, we say we're going to do a lot of things, but we often stay in that world of saying it. Well, let's do it. You know, we seem to assume quite often in our worlds and in our offices about what the others are doing without asking. Well, let's ask. You know, and as my Kokum would say, question, hey, ask him. Well, just ask him.
Sounds like what you just said. I don't like to make speeches. I like to ask.
Absolutely.
Let them come to me with their questions.
Have a conversation with people.
Yeah.
It's happening more and more, you know, where young people are asking questions, which is the place to start. I don't like going around lecturing people. I usually like to have conversations, even in classrooms and stuff like that. Sometimes they're shocked. You know, this one little kid at Brookside School came running up to me and said, "I'm Indian," and gave me a big hug. And the teacher beside me nearly collapsed. So I gave, "Oh, it's good to see you," and that. And then I told the teacher, I said, "Don't worry about it. That's what they know. Yep. It's your job now to change that idea," right? So that's how
his heart was speaking well.
Yes, he didn't.
As Jason
little
would
kids,
say.
Little kids, you know, they just copy whatever is being said. Right. They don't know really what that is. It's not their fault. And it's the same thing with school in Morden that I was working with. They were all doing land acknowledgements, different ways to do land acknowledgements. And then in there, this is grade 6 class, they said, "And we apologize for." And they asked me to look at all of them. They're all so proud, you know. And I told them, I said, "There's one thing that troubles me is that apology. You have nothing to apologize for. It is our age group that needs to apologize," I said. "And we have our own apologies that we should recognize. You know, we need to do that too, ourselves. Truth must come before reconciliation, and the truth is not out there yet. All the books that you read today, it has that Western bias. But where was the Indian in all of those things? And that's the way I look at it from my perspective when I teach young people about who we are as a people. And our own people need to know these things as well, because they're very much lost in all of it. They don't know if they fit into the Western world, or they don't know if they fit into our own world. So they've been in limbo for quite a number of years.
Would you say the signs are pointing positive to your young people understanding more their place?
I'm having more positive results outside the community than I am within the community. Poverty is hard to deal with something else rather than just the poverty, the survival mode that they're in.
We're talking about the environment.
Yes.
Just before about being stewards of the land, and you said some people may just not care, some people may not know. But if your biggest issue is poverty, then maybe the environment comes after. We're going to see something again. I'm geeking out because you're going to teach me something that I did not know.
Yeah, we'll go out and visit the Flux Tower on what we're referring to as Flux Island out here at Okamic Marsh. Some of the first times that this type of equipment, cutting-edge technology, has been deployed in the freshwater marshes.
Wow.
Right, so the entire system combined is what we call an eddy covariance flux tower. And really what that is a technological sentinel to essentially unravel the mysteries of these types of wetlands. And so the core pieces of this system are really these gas sensors that we see up here. So there's a
gas sensor.
Yeah, so there's a methane sensor and there's a CO2 sensor, and they're taking measurements at about 20 to 40 times a second using laser infrared spectroscopy. And so we can look at the change in greenhouse gas concentrations as air is eddying around those sensors. And so that's combined with the sensor we see on the left-hand side here, which is a sonic anemometer. And so that's looking at horizontal and vertical wind speeds and direction. And so when you put that all together, we know where the wind is coming from, what area of this marsh is contributing to those sensors. And so we can actually go back and look at, on a per hectare basis, how much CO2 has been taken up and how much methane has been released.
This is this is the part of Ducks Unlimited, Pascal, that a lot of people don't understand. And you know, I believe in relevance. So if people want to support us, they have to understand the work we do, and that makes us, relevant. So how would you describe this being relevant to the greater good of our work, of our mission?
So we've long known that we can't just protect wetlands or restore wetlands based on waterfowl values alone. So understanding their role in climate regulation, sequestering carbon, what they're doing in terms of greenhouse gas emissions, water quality and water quantity has become extremely important to engage a water segment of society, a broader segment of society in supporting the work that we do across the continent.
So, Pascal, when we were paddling around, I was thinking, how do we explain this to a fifth grader? Like, give us your fifth grader explanation of what it is that you're doing.
Absolutely. So, first off, I think it's important to realize that the wetlands that we're working on are some of the most productive ecosystems in the world. So they have tremendous value in terms of the amount of carbon that they take up. And so really what we're trying to do is understand how can we work with wetlands, one, to mitigate climate change, but two, also to adapt to climate change.
I've often had that question. How do you justify shooting a duck while at the same time conserving habitat for the benefit of ducks? And really, without the acts of hunters, not primarily financially, most of conservation is funded by hunters. Habitat work is funded by the activities of hunters. But without this sport, many people, me as a child, my children, would probably have missed a very profound connection with nature.
The Canadian Tradition has been brought to you by Argo, Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, Under Armour, Steel, Mossberg Firearms, Leupold Optics, Toyo Tires, Tracker Boats, Mercury Marine, 10-Point Crossbows, WeatherTech, and by Ducks Unlimited Canada.
Hey everyone, you can follow us on Instagram or Facebook or visit thecanadiantradition.com for news, contests, and show recipes.
So what do I do, keep moving?
Sure, if you want. We're kind of making our own rules here. You look pretty iconic, man, with the mist coming out of your mouth like it's cleaning you all day.
Go. All right. Well earned, well earned.
Oh, man. I will take that all in quarters. Just so
Nice
it
work.
feels like it's more. Let's go
was
get
fun.
some squirrels.
All right.